Hi, this is Miss Bryant, and I'm giving you a special video to introduce intellectual character conferences. We do them a little bit different than other schools, and so it needs a little bit extra info. This kind of frame I use for Friday announcements at school. So I'll put up a slide like the one you see in front of you, and it has all the things that are happening in October, including that Friday club proposals are due, and the grade level that has the most meal applications turned in gets a free dress day. We're going to announce it on Thursday which grade level it is, and that this Friday there's a closing ceremony where we have a game of tag, and if you're around at 3:10 we invite you to join us. But what I want to talk about are the character conferences that are happening for sixth graders on the 15th, 16th, and 18th of October. You can probably see also that on the Friday the 25th is our first dance. We're looking forward to that too. Okay, so IVA character conferences are very different. We have 3 different sets of conferences scheduled throughout the year. The 6th graders talk with teachers in October, the 7th graders in January, the 8th graders in March, and that conversation is a transition to high school. The character conferences are not, so I'm reading here above the video, they're not about updates on grades or assignments or even standard mastery feedback. This kind of feedback you can get through Illuminate, the gradebook system. Students can get with teachers directly in the classroom, office hours, Google Classroom, email, and if you're not getting the information that you need, then you'll have a parent conference and bring your child into that parent conference, but that's not a character conference. Character conferences are a chance for student reflection and this opportunity for parents and teachers to feel like they are partnered together in the development of their child's mind. So they're very student empowering. They are available to each family per grade level. They are 20 minutes, and it has one of your current IVA teachers. There'll also be a different teacher there that's there to reflect and ask questions and point out what themes they're hearing. So it's led by a conversation protocol, and it really gives us a chance to be present with students. I just want to point out for a moment, IVA's values are really focused on 3 of the values in particular in the conferences, that of self-knowledge, openness and respect, and the idea that our students can grow if they know themselves. And I'm going to read this quote that we talked about in advisory training because it relates to this so much. It says, "My inward and invisible sense of identity becomes known even to me only as it manifests itself in encounters with external and visible otherness." So I'm going to know who I am, and I'm going to be able to reflect on who I am when I come into contact with others, like my parents or my teachers. So I'm going to have Phineas, my son, and Ryan, my husband, come join us for a practice conference. And we talked about this ahead of time. You don't really have to talk about this ahead of time, but if it helps you, the virtues are on the website. So I talked with Phineas about each of the virtues because Phineas is 8. He is not a middle schooler at IVA. So I think that this conversation is a little bit harder for him than it might be for any of our students. And Phineas, the rounds start with you talking first, then your dad, then me. And the very first question is, what intellectual virtue do you feel like you practice naturally or you've seen yourself grow the most in this year?
Curiosity. I think that because when I'm walking, it's okay. I don't know.
Wasn't it like, because when you're working on something or something's new that you wonder about it, like you want to ask questions, you want to know. Mm-hmm. So it seems like in class you practice curiosity?
Yeah.
And Phineas was telling me ahead of this that he practices curiosity by asking questions in class. Okay. And I think it's really interesting, Phineas, that your dad has something else that he noticed, and it wasn't necessarily the curiosity as one of the greatest things you've been practicing recently, even though I think for you that is. So Ryan, tell us, as a dad, what have you been seeing?
As Phineas's father, I noticed he's got a bit of intellectual tenacity because he's showing that he finds out what he needs to do, and then he goes after it and he gets it done and he follows through. And he, as you would say, he keeps his eye on the prize and he doesn't give up until he's finished it, and he's finished it thoroughly as well.
And I think, Phineas, that I would add to that I have seen you with your dad doing homework at night, and there's a lot of distractions, or it just gets really hard for you, and then you struggle with that, but you actually like do come back to the assignment, and then you are able to really focus on it. And I think just you coming back is that practice of intellectual tenacity. It makes me so happy. Okay, so in the conference, as you would have it with your teachers, the second round, this should say second. The second round is where we ask the students, what virtue do you feel like you want to grow in? And I think this is the biggest difference between other schools and IVA, is that instead of Phineas, instead of your parent and your teacher telling you, here's how you need to grow, you first get to tell us how you want to grow. And I think that changes things, especially for your ability to reflect. And so we'll go around, do the same thing. And the third round is, what are your concerns or what are your appreciations? And this takes about 20 minutes. And I actually can't wait until my own children are at IVA so that I can have this kind of a conversation with them, because the way that instruction happens fits so well with how kids come to know themselves. And I'm really looking forward to that. So from the Bryant family to all of you, good night, happy soccer practice, or wherever you are going next. Say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.